Web designers who are insanely good and ultimately get more clients aren't more creative. They're not more skilled. They're not more talented. They're good at the boring stuff. So in this video, I'm going to show you the stuff that doesn't really make for a good YouTube thumbnail, the behind the scenes systems and processes that if you were to watch this video to the end and actually apply these things, it will genuinely help you get more clients and become a better web designer. It's not going to be easy though. So I'm going to share with you 5 boring truths that I've found to be important after building a web design business over the last 11 years. When you first start in web design, it's really exciting, right? There's this huge opportunity to make more money, and it's also fun. When I first wrote a line of code and it showed up in the browser that I was looking at, I was done. I was like, this is what I want to do. But after a while, that excitement turns into reality. Yes, it's fun to make websites. It's great to have clients, but the process to go from idea to actual website, especially if there's a lot of client interaction in between, is not easy. There's an author named Dorothy Parker who said, "I hate writing. I love having written." I couldn't relate more to that with web design. I hate building websites. I love having built a website. Sometimes what you thought would look good doesn't look good at all. Sometimes the spacing feels off or the website builder starts getting buggy. All that stuff sucks the excitement out of a project that you were once really excited about making. And then when you start adding clients, the boring stuff almost takes over. So think of it like this. This circle represents everything that you have to do to build a website and work with clients. The red stands for all the stuff that we love doing, all the creative work. The blue is all the boring stuff, all the admin, the technical behind the scenes stuffs. Now, when you watch a video online where somebody's making a website, you only see the red. You never see the blue because no one wants to watch the blue because it's boring. And then as you get more serious, the blue starts to completely take over where you're like, is this all I'm doing now? So here's truth number 1. If you want to be insanely good at building websites and get more clients, you have to embrace the boring stuff. But here's the truth about that. The hardest part of the boring stuff isn't just that it's there. The hardest part is when it's all mixed together. Think about how much context switching you got to do if you do all of this stuff at the same time. As an example, you're making a mood board. That's the creative stuff. And then right in the middle, a client emails you with an urgent request. So you stop the mood board and you go and respond. Your brain had to switch gears drastically just in that moment. And anytime it has to do that, not only does it make it harder to go back to the creative stuff, but it adds this buffer time in between, which makes the project drag on and on longer than it should. So here's truth number 2. You have to separate the boring stuff from the creative stuff. And listen, yes, there is always going to be some overlap where the red bleeds into the blue and the blue bleeds into the red. That's okay. But as much as you can, you want to try to separate each of them and do one at a time. So don't email clients in the middle of working on a mood board or designing the hero section. Don't make sure that your spacing is all uniform and divisible by a factor of 4 in the middle of working on how the layout is even going to look. Those are different kinds of work, and when you mix them, projects end up taking way longer than they should. Truth number 3, and this one's not really your fault, okay? I'll give you a pass. It's just how humans are wired. Most web designers obsess over the shiny stuff, the cool animations, font combos, what you can do with AI that you could never do before. And listen, all of that stuff is important, but it's short term. It's the dopamine, right? They're the little hits that feel like progress, but don't actually move the needle. And we tend, whenever we're frustrated or unclear about what we're supposed to be doing, we tend to always come back to these or default to these first. I know this better than most because I have ADHD. And if I sit down without a clear idea of what I'm doing, my brain just reaches for whatever gives me the quickest hit. So truth number 3, You've got to bring order to chaos. Most designers feel scattered and stuck because their whole process only kind of vaguely exists in their head. So here's what you do. Number one, sit down and write out everything that you do or think you should do to build a website for a client. Think of the first step, what comes after that. The more granular that you can get with this, the better. Then number two, after you've written everything down, it's time to order it all. And order it in a way that makes sense for you and the clients that you work with. You try to group things together that you might be repeating. And it might be kind of hard to know which order is going to make the most sense, but you can kind of split it up by separating out all of the stuff that you like doing, all the fun stuff, from all the boring stuff. There should be times in your process where all you're doing is the boring stuff. The stuff that is behind the scenes, doesn't get a lot of attention, doesn't make for a good YouTube video. Then there should be times where all you're doing is the fun stuff, and those should be split up between one another. If you can separate those out, you actually become a better web designer and you get projects done way, way faster. And then last, but probably most important, is you gotta go through the process with a real client. Try it out with an actual project. Experiment with it, right? And then iterate off of what works and what doesn't. Remove the things that don't work, that caused a hiccup in the whole process. Add stuff that was missing that you weren't anticipating. The whole idea is that this is just kind of a living document, right? It's something that you're always coming back to and adjusting. Truth number four, it's easy for us to embrace the fact that if we want to get better at the creative things that we're doing, like building or designing websites, we got to work at it. We need more practice. There's stuff that we don't know, and so we need to go find education for that stuff. But when it comes to the boring stuff, we feel like it's just a personality trait that you either have or you don't. Like I've heard people say, that's just not me. I'm not the business person. Like it's some innate talent that you have. But that's not how it works. And that's gonna keep you stuck right where you are. So truth number four, you have to work on the boring stuff outside of your projects. You shouldn't be downloading fonts when you're testing them out on a mood board. You should spend time every day, like 30 minutes a day, looking for fonts, trying them out, testing out the combos, not just when you have a project. Think about that. If you're doing a little bit of that every day, when a client comes to you with a specific idea, a specific brand, it's gonna be really easy for you to go, I know the exact perfect font combo. But if you're doing that in the middle of the project, it's gonna be tough, there's gonna be anxiety, and you're not gonna be able to be as creative as possible. You shouldn't be creating folders for your projects, right? At the same time that you're designing it or building it out. If you can do a little of the boring stuff every day, or maybe creating systems and templates that makes the boring stuff a little bit easier, you will be lightning fast when you're actually working on the project and still have the same results as someone that it takes a long time to do the same thing. In fact, it's these boring systems that allow us to be more creative. Okay, truth number five, and this is the last one for the day. Most people assume that the designers who are considered the best and get paid the most are really good at the creative stuff, right? Like the design aspect of the project. But that's not true. Think about this from the client's perspective. They actually don't even know what good design looks like. They're concerned with two things, right? First, how well is this website going to help my business? Like, how is it going to increase my bottom line? But also, how good was the process that I went through to go from hiring this person to them handing off a website to me? Was it smooth? Was it clean? Did I know every step that was happening along the way? So here's the final truth. Your process is the product. The design is what the client asked for, right? But the experience that you give them is what they're actually paying you for. And it's what gets you referred and rehired again and again and again. That is literally the difference between a $10,000 project and a $1,500 one. I can guarantee you that, because there are designers out there who are average. I might be one of those designers who are getting paid really well and don't have a problem getting clients. So if your process is the product, then building that process is actually the most valuable thing that you could possibly spend your time on. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, if you don't quit, you win.